I don't want to freak you out, but I have to remind you that these billionaires have been buying bunkers for the last few years. I think we thought that they knew something about the world's end, but now I'm thinking they had something else in mind. Maybe something like preparing for the effects of class consciousness. Everyone who's not them realizing the rich have made every aspect of life unaffordable, but the masses are waking up. They're realizing that these are the folks who like to privatize their gains, but they like to make sure that their losses are socialized. Kind of like what they did in the 2008 crash, and then they did again during COVID. Frankly, I feel like soon they'll start just selling us air. Hell, have you gone out to buy a water filtration system for your home yet? That's just it. Capitalism creates a problem that needs solving. They keep you buying things as an individual that could be addressed collectively. They're concentrating their wealth, and it's a systemic issue that is shaping our access to basic resources. They don't just accumulate wealth, they monopolize critical resources like housing, education, healthcare, clean water. They drive up costs and limit access for everybody else. Now they overtly sway politicians. They're ensuring politicians focus on their interest. They own the media. They tell us what we should think. They created the American dream. They told us who to hate so we don't notice that they're the ones who are robbing us all. Because if we're busy hating one another, we won't band together and fight the real villain. They want us to compete against each other in trying to become one of them. But they rigged it so the competition never ends. That rugged individualism is why some people think the government shouldn't be involved in how companies discharge wastewater. These people are manipulating politics. They control resources. They're pitting us against each other. And step one in this fight against them is to keep our money to ourselves. These bros are stubborn. To me, it looks like they want to go the route of the French instead of doing what the British did. They don't want to give up an ounce of power. Or maybe we just haven't applied enough pressure. I'm starting to see more videos of protests happening throughout the states. For a while, I was really wondering what people were waiting for. This is giving me so much hope. I'm not going to lie, these protests are looking kind of like that Pepsi commercial. I know if I showed up to one of those protests, it'd be like adding a Mentos to a Diet Cola. Things would become fiery immediately. Not because I do anything, it's because my presence is like a green light. Nothing be different except there's one chocolate chip in the snickerdoodle. And we just can't have that, can we? So the police then have to put on their riot gear, and then magically these bricks appear in stacks near windows. And then suddenly we have these groups who claim to share the same cause, but then they somehow agitate the protest and then blink. We're in martial law. They're trying to draw us out though. They want us there as an accelerant. I'm in Spain, so I'm not going to be there. While I don't think we should comply in advance, there are so many more people whose presence will make a stronger impact. It's really very much an effect of the capitalist system that we're fighting. The system requires inequality, so we have to use the system against itself. So with our protests, we have to protect ourselves by removing vulnerable groups. This is how we are going to keep violence at bay. Frankly, I don't doubt how far this president is willing to push his powers. He's already signed an executive order requiring a Pentagon report on invoking the Insurrection Act. That law allows for domestic military deployment. He's already gotten rid of top military officials who previously resisted his orders. He's been testing the boundaries of the Constitution. So yeah, my vulnerable folks need to continue to stand back and stand by. If you're protesting or not, there are a lot of things that we can do to have influence. These are things that we have to do. We have to have more confrontation within the system. These systems, they exploit our labor, poison our planet, and deepen our anger with one another. They will not dismantle themselves. The real change really begins where we live, where we work, and where we gather. This moment that we're in is not for hopelessness. We have to move past our despair. Right now is our time for action. And here's how you can be a part of it. I want you to start right where you stand. Organize within your community. Create mutual aid networks, things like community gardens and gardening collectives, tool libraries. These things help sustain your neighborhoods, and they weaken your reliance on this broken system. You have to understand that change is not abstract. It's you swapping a bag of kale with your neighbor for a bag of tomatoes that each of you have grown. Instead of buying that bag of kale for $5 at Walmart. I looked that up online. That is so expensive. The seeds are less than $1. Kale Kale is like the giving tree. This winter, I paid no attention to the kale in my backyard, and it's sitting back there like a bush. These algorithms, they thrive on your outrage. They starve everyone of actual community and change. I've come to terms with them, and I realize that we can push our voices farther within them, but we have to drown out the corporate agents with our voices of change. Wouldn't it be so awesome if somebody created bots that will counter the trolls that spam the comment sections of social media? For each of the trolls' comments, the bots would give like 5 replies defending their original post. What if we created social pages that mimics red pill content? They'd appeal to people's aspirations, their money, dating, lifestyle. Then we sprinkle in the influence on things like media literacy and empathy, community. Whoever is in charge of the resistance, start working on that right now. Also, we have to replace endless scrolling with in-person meetings because relationships are what really builds movements. I already told you, I won't forgive woke Trump supporters, but that doesn't mean that I won't partner with them. We're not just fighting billionaires here. We're fighting the Christo-fascists, and we're fighting foreign actors too. That's a lot. So bringing everyone together just makes sense to me. So let's work with disillusioned conservatives that were harmed by Doge cuts, the libertarians that are fighting the surveillance that Palantir is bringing on, the veterans who are pushing to stop the US's move towards war. Our differences matter less than our shared nemesis. Run for school board, zoning committees, city council. Primary the people voting against our interests. Policy is power, and it starts where you are. Divest from banks, switch to credit unions, boycott, redirect every dollar to your community. Money is your weapon. Wield it. Actually, I want you to forget the boycotts. Let's make this a lifestyle change. Ditch consumerism, repair, reuse, share. Oh my goodness, the frickin' rugged individualism is so frustrating. You cannot convince me that that wasn't propaganda. Fight tax havens and privatized water. Demand wealth taxes. Donate to mutual aid. Billionaires hoard power because they fear our numbers. If we make lifestyle changes that hit them in the pockets, we can definitely see a positive shift in what's happening right now. I've got another list for you. This is some of the companies of the billionaires who attended the inauguration. We know that they have a big influence on what's happening right now, so let's stop giving them our money. Jeff Bezos, Amazon, the Washington Post, Whole Foods, Audible, Twitch, Zappos, PillPack, Airbnb, Nextdoor, Uber, Mark Zuckerberg, the Meta platforms, Elon Musk, Tesla, Twitter. I refuse to call it that other name, it's dumb. Sergey Brin, Alphabet Inc., Sam Altman, OpenAI, Tim Cook, Apple, Miriam Adelson, Las Vegas Sands, Rupert Murdoch, The Wall Street Journal, New York Post, HarperCollins, Fox News, Fox Broadcasting, Tubi, Bernard Arnault, LVMH, Moet, Hennessy, Louis Vuitton. There were a lot of brands for this one. I won't list them all, but the references I use are in the video description. You have Belvedere, Chandon, Dom Perignon, Hennessy, Krug, Moet and Chandon, Veuve Clicquot, Celine, Christian Dior, Fendi, Givenchy, Kenzo, Loewe, Laura Piana, Louis Vuitton, Marc Jacobs, Rimowa, Sephora, Bulgari, Hublot, Tag Heuer, Tiffany & Co., Benefit Cosmetics, Fenty Beauty by Rihanna, Fresh, Kat Von D, Makeup Forever, Phil Ruffin, Treasure Island Hotel and Casino, Circus Circus Las Vegas, Tillman Fertitta, Landry's Inc. is another one with lots of brands, Bubblegum Shrimp Co., Chart House, Del Frisco's, Golden Nugget Casinos, Gandy Dancer, Houlihan's, Joe's Crab Shack, Landry Seafood, Morton Steakhouse, The Ocean Air, Rainforest Cafe, Rusty Pelican, The Palm Restaurant, Yak and Yeti, T-Rex, the Houston Rockets, Todd Ricketts, the Chicago Cubs, It's not a comprehensive list, but it's a place to start. Fenty has me so upset. And YouTube is what I use to get this message to you. Look, I just want to make sure that you're aware of how far the reach of these people is. I'm not asking you to throw anything away. What matters is that we are mindful with the way that media has influenced us to become consumerist. For whatever reason, we have to buy the newest and the shiniest. Let's become intentional and keep our money within our communities that we live in. Let's starve these people who provide us with subpar products and services and feed the people around us. I mean, was it coincidence that entertainment over the last decade has really focused on apocalyptic themes? How else would you prepare a society for when we have to fight one another? They fight each other unless they realize who they should really be battling. They can build their bunkers, but when it's time to come out, we're still going to be here. We'll be a little weird, but we're still going to be here. Today's assignment: plant something that you enjoy eating. And if you don't have a yard, plant it indoors. There are plenty of resources online that will show you how. Then try and reuse materials that you already have at home. For any supplies that you have to buy, see if a neighbor has anything available that they can share with you. Just don't go to that weird neighbor. And if you still need to buy something, try and purchase it from a small business as opposed to a large corporation. Now, YouTube says you should watch this next, and subscribe here if you want to see my home tour in a few days. Okay, bye.